Have you ever set a goal and then achieved it yet felt no excitement inside? You're standing exactly where you once dreamed of being, but you still feel empty. Still feel small. Still feel like everyday life keeps slipping through your hands. This is the most common trap. Goals that are too safe. They're enough for you to reach, but not enough to change you. And if a goal doesn't make you grow, then no matter how many times you hit it, you'll still be living the same old version of your life, just busier. I learned a lesson early. A goal isn't just a destination. A goal is a filter. It decides what you say yes to every day. And more importantly, it gives you the courage to say no to the things that are eating away at your future. Procrastination, distraction, and small choices that look harmless. Because the truth is this, if you don't set goals for your own life, you'll soon use your time to serve someone else's goals. Not because they're bad, but because you haven't designed your own path yet. In today's video, I'm going to show you how to set goals big enough to pull you out of your old self, but still clear enough to execute daily. We'll talk about how to choose the right size stretch goal, how to write it, how to turn it into daily discipline, and how to stay steady when inspiration disappears. And stay until the end, because the final piece will help you not only set goals, but keep your promises to yourself, the thing most people quit on halfway through. The first principle: goals aren't meant to be achieved. Goals are meant to make you become. I want you to understand this from the start. If you get this, you'll stop setting goals just to have them. Most people set goals the way they place an item on a shelf. In 2 months, I want to have. This year, I want to achieve. Once I get that, I'll be fine. But then something strange happens. They achieve a few things. A little more money, a little more achievement, another milestone to tell people about. And they still feel like something is missing, not because they're ungrateful, not because they're greedy, but because their goal wasn't big enough to require them to change. You know that feeling, right? You got what you wanted, but you're still the old you, just the old you standing in a new place. So here's what I'm telling you. The real value of a goal isn't what you get, it's who you're forced to become to deserve it. If your goal doesn't make you change your habits, raise your standards, change how you use your time, then it's just a pretty piece of paper. You can hang it on the wall, you can show it off online, but it has no power, because life doesn't change through promises. Life changes through people. I've met so many people who say, I want to be rich, I want freedom, I want success. But when I ask them, so what are you doing every day to become the kind of person who can keep that wealth, keep that freedom, keep that success? They go silent. They don't lack dreams. They lack a new version of themselves. You can make money through luck, but you can't keep money if you're still someone who spends emotionally. You can be famous for a month, but you can't keep respect if you're still someone who lives without discipline. You can get a big opportunity, but you can't go far if you're still someone who quits when no one is clapping. So the right goal always comes with a price. And the biggest price isn't time or effort. The biggest price is you have to let go of an old version of yourself. You have to drop the habit of waiting for inspiration. You have to drop doing it only when you feel like it. You have to drop the lifestyle of pushing a little today, quitting tomorrow because you're tired. A stretch goal, a goal that stretches you, always requires you to raise your standards. Raise your standards in how you think. Raise your standards in how you act. Raise your standards in how you treat your own time. And here's where many people misunderstand. They think stretch means setting an insanely huge goal to pressure yourself. No, stretch is not pressure. Stretch is setting a goal that's big enough that you can't reach it with your old habits. Let me say it again. If you can reach your goal while living exactly the way you do now, that's not a goal. That's continuation. A real goal will force you to answer hard questions. What will I do each day when I have no motivation? What will I do when others don't believe me? What will I do when results don't show up yet? Do I dare cut out what's eating my time? Do I dare say no to what's easy? Because a goal isn't only measured by numbers. A goal is measured by the discipline you're willing to build. I like this example. If you set a goal to read 5 pages a day, you can do it even if you're still someone who procrastinates. You just have to try a little. But if you set a goal to become someone who reads 3060 minutes a day consistently, whether you're busy or not, then you're no longer doing something. You're becoming a kind of person who doesn't need inspiration to act, a kind of person who doesn't need reminders, a kind of person who respects their own promises. And that is the real reward. Because when you become a new person, you don't just reach one goal. You start reaching many goals you once thought were impossible. So today, before you write any goal at all, I want you to do one thing. Don't ask, what do I want to achieve? Ask, who do I want to become? And then look at the goal you're about to set and ask, does this goal pull me out of my old habits? Or is it small enough that I don't have to change? Pause and ask yourself, what habit is your current goal demanding you drop, and what habit is it demanding you build? Because if you understand this first truth, the next principles won't just be goal-setting tips. They'll be how you redesign your entire life. And now, let's go to the part where most people fail from the beginning, not because they set the wrong goal, but because they shrink it to fit their fear. The second thing, don't shrink your dream to fit your fear. Raise your standards to deserve your dream. There's a very dangerous kind of compromise, because it happens quietly. It doesn't come as a big fall. It comes as a small sentence in your head. I probably can't do it. I'll set a smaller goal. If I aim too big and fail, it'll be embarrassing. I'll wait until I'm freer, more stable, then I'll do it. You see, it sounds reasonable, but that reasonableness is what politely kills your dream, because fear never says, I am fear. Fear says, I'm just keeping you safe. And then you start doing what so many people do their whole lives. You shrink your goal until it no longer scares you. But when the goal no longer scares you, it also no longer makes you grow. I've seen this in very smart people. They don't lack ability. They lack the courage to tolerate uncertainty for a while. They want big goals, but they also want a guaranteed win immediately. And that's a contradiction. You can't reach farther while also never feeling uncomfortable. Because a stretch goal, a goal that stretches you, always has a part that makes you feel not enough. It forces you to learn more, forces you to be more disciplined, forces you to change how you use your time, forces you to step into a new version of yourself you're not used to. And because you're not used to it, you'll feel afraid. But here's the truth I want you to remember. If your goal doesn't make your hands shake just a little, you might be aiming too low. I'm not saying you have to be reckless. I'm not saying you have to set a fantasy goal. I'm just saying, don't confuse safe with right. So many people live inside a cage padded with reasonable excuses. Family, age, circumstances, not enough time, not enough money. But the real cage isn't circumstances. The real cage is standards. Do you know what standards are? Standards are what you accept. You accept waking up late. You accept half-hearted work. You accept spending hours on things that create no value. You accept procrastinating because I'm tired today. And then you wonder, why doesn't my life change? Your life doesn't change because the goal you set doesn't force you to raise your standards. It's only big enough for you to keep living with the same habits. So instead of shrinking the goal, do the opposite. Keep the goal, but raise the person. You might not have the skills yet, then learn. You might not have the environment, then create it. You might not have confidence yet, then build it through small daily actions. But never say, because I'm not ready, I have to lower my dream. Because the truth is, you will never feel ready. You only become ready after you start. And I want you to notice something. Fear doesn't disappear when you think more. Fear disappears when you act longer. That's why so many people stay stuck. They wait for the day they feel confident, then they act. But confidence doesn't come from waiting. Confidence comes from proving to yourself, I can do this. So this principle is simple. Don't look at the goal and ask, am I sure I can achieve it? Look at the goal and ask, who do I need to become to achieve this? The first question creates fear. The second question creates a plan. And here's a way to check yourself. If your goal is so safe that it doesn't change your daily schedule, doesn't force you to cut useless things, doesn't force you to learn new skills, then you've probably compromised. You don't need anyone's approval for your dream. You only need enough courage not to betray it. Pause and ask yourself, where are you shrinking your goal just to avoid the feeling of failure? Because sometimes failure isn't that you don't reach the goal. Failure is living your whole life without ever daring to set it at the right size. And now, let's go to the next principle where everything starts to get clear. Because there's a reason so many people never make it to the end. They don't truly know what they want. They only know what they don't want. Principle 3, be clear about what you want. Stop saying what you don't want. I realized something pretty funny after years of working with people. When you ask them, what do you want in the next 3-5 years? They answer slowly, vaguely. But when you ask, what don't you want? They answer immediately. I don't want to be poor. I don't want to be looked down on. I don't want to do a soul-sucking job anymore. I don't want to live like this. And they think that's enough. No, that's not a goal. That's just pain. Pain can wake you up, but pain can't guide you. You can run away from a bad place, but if you don't know where you're running to, you'll get lost, and then you'll end up back where you started. Because life isn't designed by avoidance. Life is designed by clarity. And here's the difference between someone who truly sets goals and someone who's just hoping. A real goal setter says, "This is what I want. This is who I will become. This is the habit I will build." A person who's hoping says, "As long as it's not as bad as it is now, I'm good." Do you see the problem? When you only know not bad, you'll choose the easiest solutions, not the right ones. You'll switch jobs just to feel less bored, instead of building skills to increase your value. You'll try to make money by taking one risky shot, instead of building habits that create stable income. You'll start for a few days, then quit, because you don't have a clear destination worth suffering for. So, principle #3 is, say what you want in positive and specific language. Not, "I don't want debt," but "I want financial freedom at level X, and I will become a disciplined money manager." Not, "I don't want to be fat," but "I want a strong, healthy body, and I will become someone who trains consistently." Not, "I don't want to be tired anymore," but "I want a life with rhythm, and I will become someone who knows how to prioritize." See? When you say it right, you start seeing the road. And now I want you to try a simple exercise. Very few people do this seriously, but the ones who do change their lives. Take a sheet of paper, write 4 sentences. 1. Who do I want to become? 2. What do I want to do? 3. What do I want to have? 4. What do I want to give? These aren't nice lines to read for fun. This is how you clarify whether your goals are balanced. Because some people only want to have money, a car, status, but they don't set a goal to become, so they might achieve it and still feel empty. Some people only want to do more, stay busy, keep running. But without goals to have and become, they burn out. Some people are very kind and always want to give, but they forget to have goals so they can keep giving long term, so they run out of energy. Clarity shows you what piece you're missing. And here's the most important part. A stretch goal doesn't start with a number. A stretch goal starts with a truth. The truth is, I'm living below my standard. I'm letting time pass too easily. I'm choosing easy too often. If you're willing to face that truth, then you can start setting the right goals. But if you keep stating goals in an avoidance way, you will always leave yourself an escape hatch. Well, at least it's not worse. No, you weren't born for not worse. You were born to grow. Ask yourself right now, what do you truly want if you are not allowed to answer with "I don't want anymore"? Write it as a positive sentence, clear, measurable, and slightly scary in a good way. Because when you're clear, you don't just see the goal. You see what you need to do every day. And now step into the next principle, the one most people skip because it's too simple, but it's exactly what turns an intention into a new life. Principle 4, write the goal on paper. Paper is stronger than memory. There's something I've always believed, and the older I get, the more I see it's true. Anything you don't write down will eventually become a passing thought. You can be very serious in your head. You can feel fired up tonight. You can say, "Tomorrow I'm starting." But then tomorrow comes, work pulls you away, messages pull you away, fatigue pulls you away, and life as usual swallows your intention whole. Not because you're bad, but because you're fighting with the weakest weapons, memory and emotion. Memory forgets, emotion changes. You need something harder, something that stays still, not controlled by mood. That's why writing it down is very different from thinking about it. When you write your goal down, you're doing 3 things at once. 1, you turn the vague into the clear. 2, you turn inspiration into a commitment. 3, you turn an idea into an anchor, something that pulls you back when you drift. I'm telling you the truth. Most people don't fail because they lack ability. They fail because they live in a state of drifting with other people's schedules, drifting with surprises, drifting with mood, drifting with small things. And a goal that isn't written down can't fight that pull. It gets swept away like a leaf on a river. But when you write it down, you start living differently, living by design. You tell life, this is my direction, this is my standard, this is who I will become. Now, I don't want you to write goals just to make them look nice. I want you to write them in a way that gives them power. Write it like a declaration with responsibility. For example, don't write, I want to be successful. Right. In the next 12 weeks, I will become disciplined with my time. Every day I will spend 60 minutes on my most important skill, no matter how I feel. See? A sentence like that doesn't just say what I want. It says how I will live, because a stretch goal isn't only in the outcome, it's in how you force yourself to act. And here's what many people do wrong. They write the goal, then put it away, like writing a letter and hiding it in a drawer. No, a goal isn't something you store. A goal is something you look at. You need to see it so often that it becomes a voice in your head. Because you live in a world that constantly wants to reroute you. Social media wants to reroute you. Friends want to reroute you. Fatigue wants to reroute you. Even your old self wants you to go back. A written goal reminds you, no, I'm going this way. Every morning, just 30 seconds. Look at the goal, read it again, and ask, what will I do today to deserve this sentence? That's how you move a goal from paper into real life. And you'll notice something interesting. When you write and reread your goal every day, you don't have to try to remember it anymore. It becomes part of you, like carrying a compass wherever you go. You still hit storms. You still have tired days. But you don't get lost. And to make it even stronger, I want you to add one line under your goal. Just one line. Why is this important to me? Because a goal without a why collapses when things get hard. But a goal with a why has roots. When you know why you must change, you stop needing other people to push you. You push yourself. Pause and ask yourself, where is your goal right now? In your head or on paper? If it's only in your head, it's sitting in the place that gets blown away the easiest. Write it down tonight. Not to make it pretty, but to make it real. Because when you write your goal down, you're not just writing a plan. You're signing a contract with yourself. And now we come to the next principle, the one that keeps you from falling into another trap. Setting goals for one part of life and letting the rest collapse. Principle 5, balance your goals. If you only win in one area, you still lose. There's a kind of success I don't wish for you. It's the kind of success where you get what you want, but you lose yourself in the process. You can make money, but your health declines. You can reach a high position, but your family becomes distant. You can get a lot done, but your mind is always stretched tight like a wire. You can be recognized, but feel empty inside. And the sad part is, people still call that success. But if you look closely, it's a bad trade. You trade your whole life to buy one part of your life. That's why when you set a stretch goal, a goal that pulls you into growth, you have to be careful. Don't lift one part of your life by crushing the rest. Because if you do, sooner or later you'll achieve it, and then you won't have the strength to enjoy it. You'll notice something strange. Someone can be very disciplined at work, but chaotic with their health. Someone can be strong in public, but fragile in relationships. Someone can be great at making money, but terrible at managing time and emotions. And that happens because they set one-dimensional goals. They look at their life and say, as long as I win here, everything else will work itself out. No, life doesn't work that way. Life is like a four-legged table. One leg breaks, the table tilts. Two legs break, the table falls. That's why I always come back to a simple framework. Simple, but strong enough to keep your life upright. Become, do, have, give. 1. Become. Who do you want to become? A disciplined person? A calm person? A reliable person? Someone who keeps their word? This is the part most people skip, even though it's the root. 2. Do. What do you want to do? Which project? Which skill? Which work? Which habit? This is the action piece. 3. Have. What do you want to have? Income, assets, freedom, time, position. This is the outcome piece. You need to be honest, but also clear-headed. 4. Give. What do you want to give? Value, contribution, kindness, guidance, something good. Because a life that only takes will soon lose meaning. Now you might say, but I just need money first. I get it. Everyone needs money. But the problem isn't that you want money. The problem is when you pour your entire life into one make-money goal and forget who you're becoming in the process. You might become short-tempered. You might become impatient. You might become a work addict. You might become someone who trades away health and relationships. And when you finally have money, you'll have to pay a different bill to fix what broke. That's not a smart path. A true stretch goal always has balance built into it. It can prioritize one area for a season, yes, but it cannot destroy the other areas. It's like working out to get stronger, not training until you get injured. Discipline is meant to make you freer, not turn you into a prisoner of yourself. So before you set a goal, run a quick check. Write your main goal in the center of a page. Then ask 4 questions. Is this goal helping me become a better person or a worse one? What does this goal require me to do every day? What will this goal truly give me to have? And what does this goal help me give to others or to my future self? If you can't answer the give question, be careful. You might be chasing a destination that, in the end, has no meaning. And if you can't answer the become question, be even more careful, because you might be setting a goal that doesn't help you grow, only makes you tired. Pause and ask yourself, is your current goal making your life stand taller or making it tilt? Because the right stretch goal doesn't just help you achieve, it helps you become a more balanced person. And now we get to a critical principle. Listen closely. Not every big goal is a stretch goal. Some goals are big, but the wrong size. The wrong size will make you quit or burn out. So in the next part, I'm going to show you how to choose the right size stretch goal, big enough to pull you up, but clear enough that you don't break halfway through. Principle 6, right size stretch. Slightly scary, but measurable. Remember this sentence because it will save you from quitting over and over. Not every big goal is good. A good goal is a right-sized goal, because there are 2 kinds of goals that both lead to failure, just in 2 different ways. Type 1, the goal is too small. You achieve it, but you don't change. Same old habits, same old life, just a little achievement to comfort yourself. Type 2, the goal is too big in a vague way. You look at it and feel overwhelmed. You start for a few days, then you burn out, or you hate yourself, or you quit because I'm not enough. And then you draw the wrong conclusion. Stretch goals aren't for me. No, the problem isn't stretch. The problem is you chose the wrong size. I call it right size stretch, like a rubber band. If you pull it just enough, it creates tension. It launches you farther. But if you pull too far, it snaps. And when it snaps, you don't just lose the goal, you lose trust in yourself. So how do you know a stretch goal is the right size? I'll give you a simple test. Just 3 signs. Sign #. It scares you a little, but you can still see the path. If the goal makes you say, wow, this is hard, but right after that you can ask, okay, what's step 1? Then it's the right size. But if the goal paralyzes you, you don't know where to start. Everything feels foggy. Then you're looking at a dream, not a goal yet. Sign #2. It demands a habit change, not just more effort. A right-sized goal doesn't require you to try 10 times harder. It requires you to live differently. Example, you want to increase income. If your goal is just work more hours, that's more effort. But if your goal is spend 60 minutes a day learning a valuable skill, that's a habit change. A right-sized stretch goal always comes with a question. What habit do I need to build so people have no choice but to pay me more? Sign #3, you can measure it in 7 days, not wait 7 months. This is the biggest mistake that makes people quit. They choose goals where they have to wait a long time to see anything. Waiting too long, with no sign of progress, kills spirit. So a right-sized goal needs short checkpoints. You don't have to measure the final result right away. Measure actions, measure habits, measure progress. For example, you might not see money rise yet, but you can measure 7 out of 7 days learning the skill, 5 out of 7 days building the product, 3 training sessions, 1 article or 1 video or 1 small project completed. See? You don't need to wait for results to have motivation. You have motivation because you can see you're moving. Now, to make this principle truly usable, I want you to do 1 very practical step. Write your goal in 2 lines. Line 1, result. Example, I want to reach X in 12 weeks, 90 days. Line 2, behavior, the part you control. Example, every day I will do Y for 60 minutes, 5-6 days a week. If you can't write line 2, your goal is dangerous because you're gambling on inspiration and luck. And remember this, a right-sized stretch goal doesn't keep you up at night from anxiety. It gets you up early because you have direction. It keeps you busy in a meaningful way, not fake busy. It gives you the feeling, if I do the right thing every day, I'll get there. Not, I'm just hoping it happens. Ask yourself, which type is your current goal? Too small, so it doesn't change you, or too big, so it paralyzes you? And if the answer is too big, don't quit the goal. Just adjust the size. Keep the dream. But bring it into a form you can execute. Because a goal isn't something you admire. A goal is something you live with. And now we reach principle 7, where everything gets deeper and clearer. You don't just set goals for outcomes. You set goals for identity for the person you're going to become. Principle 7. Identity creates habits. Habits create results. I want you to look at goals in a completely different way. Most people see a goal as a number at the end of the road. They say, I want to achieve X, and then they try to run. But here's the problem. You can't run for long if you haven't changed the person who's running. So instead of starting with the results, start with identity. I call it 3 layers. 1. Identity. Who am I? Who am I choosing to become? 2. Habits. How do I live like that person every day? 3. Results. Results are just the consequence of identity and habits. Do you see it? Results are the last layer. But most people put them at the first layer. And that's why they set a goal, then keep living the same way. Just adding a little more effort for a few days. Then they get tired. Then they quit. Then they say the familiar line, I don't have motivation. It's not that you lack motivation. You lack a new identity. Someone can have a weight loss goal, but still be a person who eats emotionally. Someone can have an income increase goal, but still be a person who's afraid to learn, afraid to sell, afraid of criticism. Someone can have a success goal, but still be a procrastinator who waits for inspiration. And do you know what happens? The old identity pulls you back every time, because identity is like gravity. It keeps you in the same orbit. So a real stretch goal isn't, I want to achieve X. A real stretch goal is, I will become the kind of person who can create X and who can keep it. You see the difference? That's why I always recommend one very simple thing. Don't write your goals only as I want. Add the sentence, I am the kind of person who. For example, I want to earn more income becomes, I am the kind of person who builds skills daily and creates value that can be sold. I want to be healthy becomes, I am the kind of person who takes care of my body as a responsibility, not an option. I want to do better in school becomes, I am the kind of person who studies consistently, not in last-minute bursts. It sounds simple, but it's extremely powerful. Because when you say I am the kind of person who, you start changing your standards. You stop asking, do I feel like it today? You start asking, what would someone like me do today? And you know what? That second question is stronger than any motivation. Because it doesn't depend on emotion. It depends on self-respect. A disciplined person isn't someone who always feels motivated. A disciplined person is someone with a standard. No matter what, I do my part. Now I want you to do a small exercise in your head. Pick one stretch goal you want to set. For example, in the next 12 weeks, I want to build a skill, increase income, finish a project, change my body. Now ask, what identity matches this goal? I am the kind of person who. What habit proves that identity every day? Every day I will. What result becomes the natural reward if I do the habit? After 12 weeks I will. See, when you write it in these 3 layers, the goal stops being something far away. It becomes a lifestyle. And here's what most people miss. They want the results of a disciplined person, but they don't want to live like a disciplined person. They want the freedom of someone with control, but they don't want to do the work of someone with control. But life doesn't pay based on desire. Life pays based on the identity you build through action. So if you want a stretch goal, don't just stretch the goal. Stretch your identity. Pause and ask yourself, who is your goal demanding you become, and have you truly chosen that identity yet? Because the moment you choose the identity, everything else gets clearer. Which habits you need to build, what you need to cut, what environment you need to change. At this point, I want you to pause for a moment. Not to memorize more, not to feel inspired, but to ask one simple question one very few people have the courage to ask honestly. After this video, what will change in how I live? Because the truth is, you don't need more knowledge to change your life. You need to keep your promise to yourself for longer than a few days. So many people understand the right ideas. So many people nod along when they hear this, but then everyday life returns. The old schedule, the old habits, the old version of you. And the goal, if it isn't protected, gets worn down fast. Remember this, you don't lose because you set the wrong goal. You lose because you let your old self decide for you every day. Not through one big decision, but through hundreds of small ones. Sleeping 15 more minutes, putting it off one more day, skipping something because I'm tired today. And then one day you look back and ask, why am I still here? The answer is simple but not easy to hear. Because you didn't live long enough as the person that goal required. A good goal doesn't need you to be perfect. It only needs you to be consistent. Consistent when no one is watching. Consistent when there's no motivation. Consistent when results haven't arrived yet. And if you hold that long enough, you'll realize something important. You're no longer chasing the goal. You're becoming the kind of person who can create it naturally. If there's only one thing I want you to carry with you after this video, it's this. Don't ask, when will I achieve it? Ask, did I live up to that identity today? Just that question every day, and your life will turn in a different direction. If this video didn't just sound good but hit something you've been avoiding for a long time, then you're probably someone who doesn't want to live a temporary life. And the Rohn Treasures channel was created for people like that. Subscribe not to watch more videos, but to remind yourself to live with higher standards. Every video here isn't for the crowd. It's for people who want to build discipline, not just chase motivation, become a stronger version of themselves, not just more successful, and keep promises to themselves, even when no one is watching. If you're ready for that, hit subscribe and start living like the person your goal is demanding you become. We don't need a lot of people. We just need the right people. And who knows, maybe you're one of them.